What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot back again with my weekly recap, breakdown, and review of the latest episode of Apple TV Plus C Season 2. We're talking episode 5, titled The Dinner Party. I told you all last week that Queen Kane couldn't keep her hands to herself, and weak-minded Kofun fell right into her trap. We're breaking it all down here in this spoiler review, but before we dive into it, make sure you all are checking me out on all my other social media accounts. If you're new to the channel, well, welcome to the community. Consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. That way you can get the alert for when I drop new content. If you enjoyed this spoiler review, well, make sure to like and share this review. It helps out the channel a lot, but I also appreciate the support. And in those comments, let's talk about this 5th episode titled The Dinner Party, an episode in which we get a bunch of reunions, a lot of characters telling other characters to not do what they're planning on doing because they're making bad decisions, and the hands, ladies and gentlemen. We got to talk about that last scene and everything in between in the comments below, your pros, your cons, and of course your thoughts and theories of what you hope to see in the weeks ahead. So I feel like a broken record at this point, but I truly do mean this. This season has been fantastic. Each episode has been better than the last, and it's not like the episodes were bad. It's just that they're building momentum. They're building this world. They're developing the characters. The alliances being made. The lies, the deceptions, the trying to take advantage of weak-minded people. I mean, it's just so much going on. And again, the reunion did not disappoint. And we got some characters meeting for the first time. I mean, we're gonna break it all down, but this was just yet another example of why this show has just become better and better by each episode. And this season has been absolutely fantastic. But I want to know your thoughts in the comments right now. Last week is still pretty high on my list, but this episode was fantastic. But again, let me know your rankings in the comments below and what you all thought about it. But let's break it all down as we open up with the continuation of Queen Kane, continuing to try to make the necessary steps and the necessary alliances to prepare for war. We see her sister, Maghra, is obviously trying to prevent that and trying to correct her sister's wrongs, but Queen Kane is not making it easier for her. But they make this type of agreement that Maghra's going to go off to the Travantians and try to make a peace treaty, but then she wants the Travantians to apologize, which that's not going to turn out well. But again, we're just seeing these sisters go back and forth again and showing the civil war amongst all these families. And Queen Kane, we'll talk about her a little bit more in depth a little bit later, but so happy that we got some comedy in this episode, and it was very subtle, but it was put in very well, and we get more of Charlotte. And I mentioned it 2 weeks ago when we first got her. She's fantastic as she's questioning Baba Voss as he's skinning this rabbit about, do you really trust your wife Maghra? She never told you she was a princess, and she's now in this position. Do you trust her in this situation? And that's a good question, man. I'm telling you all right now, I have this number one I mentioned last week, Kofun. He's gonna go to the dark side. But something tells me, especially in this episode, Maghra might do something that's going to question her loyalty to Baba Voss, and we'll talk about that a little later. But going back to another character, the show's trying to build this character, which they've been trying to do since last season, is Kofun. I said it before, and I'll say it again. He's my least favorite character. It's nothing against the actor. It's just literally the characteristics of the character. He's very weak-minded and just can't fend for himself. But I think by the end of the season, I think he will join the dark side, but he's going to be a badass by the end of the season, especially with him trying to train with Toad. And I love that the show is finally trying to give Kofun something to do and to finally fend for himself. And I think, like I said, he's going to cross over to the dark side, but he's going to have some training under his belt by the time that happens. But moving on, we see that Ren is trying to do the same thing in regards to lowering the war and trying to get Ito to not go to war. But at this point, he wants blood. He wants to know, the world to know, the queen to know that he's in control. So again, seeing all these characters trying to prevent this war, they're not doing a good job at it, because you got Queen Kane, you got Ito. These people are out for blood, and more importantly, they want power and control, and they'll do anything to get that power and control. But Baba Voss and crew finally make it to Pinsa. They split up for a bit of a second, but of course Baba Voss, he's not going to go in quietly as he's looking for Maghra. Him and Hanawa just cut through they don't kill the soldiers, but they beat them pretty easily, and we get the long-awaited family reunion we've been waiting for, but it is unfortunately interrupted by, I've been waiting for this moment, Lord Harlan introducing himself as Maghra's new husband. And that's not just one, interruption. Then Queen Kane makes her way, and she's like, oh, I get to meet Hanawa. Oh, my sister's family is safe. The babies are safe. It's like this is the same queen that wanted to kill these kids, and now she's happier than ever to see them. Again, that moment did not disappoint. Seeing the awkwardness on Baba Voss, like, who's Harlan? And then Queen Kane, it was just really well written. The performances were great, and I loved it. And that's one of many great scenes that we get with this crew here as we listen. Charlotte is becoming one of my favorite characters on the show, and she has, I think this goes down in history for me so far in this 2 seasons of C as one of the funniest moments of the show. As Queen Kane's talking about, Baba, you lived up to your reputation. You took out my men like they were, tall grass, and these are the best soldiers in the world. And Baba says, well, you train them to hunt children so they don't know how to fight men. And I don't know if you all noticed, but Charlotte was laughing in that moment, and her laugh, and she's like snorting, and then Baba smiling. I don't know if that was improvised. I don't know if that was like slightly a blooper, because I don't know if Baba was supposed to smile and if she was supposed to snort, but if it wasn't, perfectly placed. It was just so funny to me. It's a small moment, but one of the Hall of Fame moments for me. Very funny moment. Again, Charlotte, she is building her way up to becoming one of my favorite characters. But in the seriousness in this scene, this is pretty serious because, number one, Baba Voss is meeting the queen for the very first time. This is the same queen that tried to kill his children for over 17 years. This is obviously Baba Voss seeing that his wife is alive. It's a pretty big moment for this character. And the scene does not disappoint for a lot of the tension in the room. You can slice it with a butter knife as Harlan and Baba Voss are clearly getting along as, they're sharing the same wife. As Queen Kane brings up that Maghra's her past lovers and how awkward this situation is. Again, fantastic writing. You can literally feel the tension and the awkwardness, and Baba's just continues. He just wants to kill the queen. He wants to kill Harlan, get his family the hell out of there, but he has to keep things at bay because Maghra seems to have everything under control. At least we think she does. And Harlan, even I think what did Kane call Paris, the mountain woman? Again, it was just a really well written scene. But let's move on as we get another reunion. 2 badass characters, the witchfinders, as told, talks to the witchfinder, and again, very short scene, but you could tell the badassness within the scene, and them being on the same page hopefully will be something, a sight to see, no less. Baba Voss, let's move on to him talking to Maghra as he learns about this trip that she's going to take to make this peace treaty. He's like, no, this is a trap. You should not be doing this, and I hope she doesn't do this after a scene that we'll talk about here in a second. But also, she kind of fills Baba Voss in on why she did the things she did and marry Harlan and all that different stuff. And at this point in the episode, I'm like, wait a minute. What about Harlan's brother? She sent the brother to get Hanawa, not knowing that they were obviously with Baba Voss, and we'll get to that scene here in a bit. But again, Maghra's filling him in on the situation at hand, and Harlan makes his way into the room, obviously taking advantage of the awkward moment. And again, the comedy in this episode is great because even Harlan, when he was drunk, talking about the sleeping arrangements and how this is his house, and he gets a little serious with Baba Voss. He threatens Baba Voss in regards to watch the way you talk to me because this is my land, this isn't your land. So again, all these scenes are fantastic, and the way they threw in the like I said, the comedy and the dramatic beats were just really well paced. But another group of characters having a great interaction. Toad and Paris has a bit of a conversation, some really interesting dialogue here as Paris wants Toad to protect Kofun, which again, I think Kofun is going to be finally picking up a sword and know how to swing a sword by the end of this season, hopefully sooner rather than later. But we get more of the seeds being planted. Like I mentioned, Kofun's going to go on that dark side as he's talking to his sister Hanawa, who's cutting his hair at this point in this episode. But again, he's siding with the queen. He trusts the queen more than his own mother. So again, Kofun, he's slowly but surely making his way to Queen Kane's side, especially by the end of this episode with the hands that we'll talk about. But another, we get a bunch of variety of shots with great character moments from Paris and Maghra having a conversation, Kofun and Baba having a conversation as he teaches his son how to hear the world. And again, they're building this character. And again, I'm liking that Kofun is getting more to kind of build to the strength because he is very weak-minded. And we'll talk about Kofun in a second. We get more of the question I asked about what's going on with Harlan's brother, as he thought he was going to go into their land and take Hanawa. No, but Harlan gets some bad news, and as I predicted last week, it wasn't going to be good for Harlan's brother, as we see that Harlan's brother's head is in a bag. He is obviously upset. He's in tears. How is he going to take this? Is he going to want to go to war? Is he going to blame Maghra? Only time will tell. But I knew that things weren't going to work out for his brother, and this is just one of many heads that are probably going to be chopped off by the end of this season. But we get more, as I mentioned last week, as Queen Kane pays a visit to her nephew, and she talks about, I want to share a secret with you, as she reveals that her baby died, and she begins to cry, and she wants to be more open. She wants to open her heart to him, and she wants trust between those two. And ladies and gentlemen, she makes her move with her hands, and you know how the scene plays out. She touches his chest, makes her way to his thighs, and was it me, or did you all feel extremely uncomfortable in that scene? And yeah, we end with Kofun, very weak-minded, falls right into the trap of his auntie, Queen Kane, and she plays him like a fiddle. He's very weak-minded, brand new haircut, same old Kofun. But listen, man, this was a great episode. I mentioned it last week. I knew that Queen Kane was going to make her way. She's going to try to get her nephew to have a baby with her, to keep this cited promise that she has to the people. And we mentioned last week, she is definitely she's channeling her inner Cersei. She keeps it all within the family. And this show, like I said, speaking of Cersei, this show is hitting on all marks for me, man. This is, hitting those Game of Thrones beats that I haven't gotten since, season 6, season 7 of Game of Thrones. As we all know, season 8 wasn't the greatest, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about C, which has been fantastic. Another great episode in the books, great character development, great reunions, the scenes of seeing Baba Voss meeting the Queen for the first time, meeting Harlan, and seeing the situation with the marriage did not disappoint. And again, they're just planting the seeds for not only civil war, but an even bigger war to come with Ito and obviously Queen Kane and all the different plots and scheming and everything that characters have going. This is shaping up to be a fantastic end of the season. This is only episode 5. We have, I believe, 10 episodes this season, so this is the halfway point, and I expect the second half of the show to be just as good, if not better, than the first half, which has been fantastic. But hey, that's just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts, your pros, your cons, your thoughts, your theories of what you hope to see in the weeks ahead, and let's discuss it all in the comments below. If you stuck around to this point in the video, I appreciate every single one of you all. Before you leave, make sure to like the video, share the video, leave your thoughts in the comments, of course, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell. That way you don't miss any of my other content. Hope you all enjoyed this review. As you can see on the screen now, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Check out my other videos. Hope you all are staying safe, and we'll see you on the next video.